In one of the most remote valleys on Earth, men went looking for gold and were found without their heads. Deep in Canada's Northwest Territories, far from any city or road, lies the vast, untamed wilderness of the Nahanni Valley. It's a place of breathtaking beauty, with the mighty South Nahanni River carving its way through canyons deeper than the Grand Canyon, surrounded by dense forests and towering mountains. But for over a century, this isolated landscape has been feared, long before it became a national park. Long before prospectors arrived with dreams of striking it rich, the land already had a reputation, a dark history whispered in the oral traditions of the local Dene people. They spoke of a mysterious tribe, the Naha fierce warriors, or perhaps spirits of the mountains, who fiercely protected their sacred territory. It was a land that held secrets, and it did not welcome outsiders. The story that would cement its terrifying name begins in the early 20th century, during the fever of the gold rush. In 1904, two brothers, Willie and Frank McLeod, packed their gear and ventured into the heart of the valley. Like so many others, they were driven by the promise of fortune, convinced that the riverbeds held glittering veins of gold. They paddled up the river, set up a camp, and then vanished. For years, no one knew what had become of them. Then, in 1908, another prospecting party stumbled upon the remains of their camp. The scene they found was chilling. The skeletons of the two brothers were discovered, but something was terribly wrong. According to the stories that began to circulate, both bodies were headless. Even stranger, their mining equipment and any gold they might have found were left untouched. This wasn't a robbery. It was something else, something far more sinister. The news spread like wildfire across Canada, passed from one mining town to the next. The Nahanni Valley was no longer just a remote wilderness. It was a place where men lose their heads. The legend might have faded into folklore, dismissed as a tall tale from the north, if it weren't for what happened next. In 1917, another brave or perhaps foolish prospector named Martin Jorgenson made his way into the valley. He was a Swiss trapper and miner, well versed in the hardships of the wilderness. He built a small cabin for himself, determined to find the gold that had eluded the McLeod brothers. But like them, he too met a gruesome end. A search party later found his cabin completely burned to the ground. Nearby, they discovered his body. And just like the McLeods, he was reportedly headless. Official records from that time are scarce and often contradictory, but the story stuck. The pattern was undeniable. The valley was earning its new, terrifying name, the Valley of the Headless Men. Throughout the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, the body count continued to rise. More trappers and prospectors who dared to enter the Nahanni disappeared. Some were found, their deaths attributed to the harsh elements exposure, starvation, or unfortunate accidents. The valley is, after all, an incredibly unforgiving place. Others were never seen again, their bodies swallowed by the immense wilderness. With each new disappearance, the rumors grew stronger, embellished with every telling. Was it a serial killer hiding in the mountains? Was it a curse? The sheer isolation of the valley, combined with its brutal winters and rugged terrain, made any real investigation next to impossible. There was no confirmed evidence of ritual killings, no definitive proof of foul play in every case. But the lack of answers only fueled the speculation. The wilderness itself became a suspect, a malevolent force with a thirst for blood. As the tales of headless men spread, people began to look back at the old stories, the Dene legends of the Naha. Who were they? The oral traditions describe a lost tribe of powerful territorial warriors who lived high in the mountains. They were said to be larger and stronger than other people, known for their fierceness in battle. According to the legends, they vanished from the region long ago, but their spirit remained. Some interpretations of the stories framed the Naha not as human enemies, but as spiritual guardians of the land, punishing those who would defile it by searching for gold. To this day, no conclusive, Archaeological evidence has been found to prove the existence of the Naha as they are described in the legends. Yet the stories persist, intertwined with the modern accounts of death and disappearance. The line between myth and reality in the Nahanni Valley is impossibly blurred. Of course, skeptics and scientists offer more grounded explanations for the valley's grim reputation. Geographically, this is one of the most remote and challenging environments in North America. It's accessible only by bushplane or by navigating hundreds of miles of treacherous river. Winters are brutal, with temperatures plummeting and snow piling up for months. Avalanches are a constant threat in the mountains, and the wildlife includes grizzly bears and wolves. It's entirely possible that many of the deaths were simply due to natural causes. An animal attack, particularly from a scavenger, could easily explain why some bodies were found without heads. Hypothermia can cause disorientation and lead people to make fatal mistakes. Yet, these explanations don't account for every detail in every story. They don't explain the untouched gold, the burned-down cabin, or the sheer number of experienced woodsmen who met their end there. The wilderness might be the killer, but it doesn't seem to be acting alone. Even in the modern era, with advanced equipment and satellite phones, the valley maintains its eerie atmosphere. Hikers and paddlers who venture into the park today often report unsettling experiences. Strange, unexplained lights seen hovering over the mountain peaks at night. Eerie whispers that seem to be carried on the wind through the narrow canyons, even when no one else is around. Perhaps most unnerving are the consistent reports from seasoned outdoorsmen who describe a sudden, overwhelming feeling of dread in certain parts of the valley, a primal sense of being watched by an unseen presence. While there is no verified supernatural evidence, no photographs of ghosts or recordings of spirits, the feeling is so palpable that many refuse to camp in specific areas known for these phenomena. Scientific interest in the valley has also uncovered some unusual properties. Geologists have noted that the region has unique seismic activity and strange magnetic anomalies that can interfere with compasses. Some researchers have speculated that these environmental factors, perhaps combined with infrasound generated by wind in the canyons, could influence human perception, causing feelings of anxiety, paranoia, or even hallucinations. The strange lights in the sky might be a natural phenomenon, like swamp gas or piezoelectric effects from shifting rock. But no single scientific theory has managed to fully demystify the Nahanni Valley or erase the dark reputation it has earned over the last century. Each explanation leaves another question unanswered. Today, the valley is protected as the Nahanni National Park Reserve, a UNESCO World Heritage Site celebrated for its stunning natural beauty. Access is limited, which helps preserve both the fragile ecosystem and the lingering mystery. Officially, park authorities will tell you that the valley is safe for those who are well prepared and respect the power of the wilderness. But unofficially, the legends live on. The stories are still told around campfires, and many local people still refuse to venture too deep into its heart, especially into the areas where the headless bodies were found. Gold seekers entered the valley with ambition and dreams of wealth. Some never returned. Others were found in an eternal silence without their heads. Is the Nahanni Valley simply one of the most unforgiving wilderness regions in North America? A place that naturally claims the lives of the unprepared and the unlucky? Or is it something more? Is it sacred land, guarded by an ancient power that is older than history? The questions remain unanswered, echoing in the vast, empty spaces between the mountains. Because in the far north of Canada, when the wind whispers through the valley of the Headless Men, it almost sounds like a warning. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more mysteries.